Welcome back to Funnel Cake Fanatics.
Oh, that funnel cake.
When we talk about everything funnel cakes in and around the hobby.
Yes, funnel cakes are the most important part of the hobby, as everyone knows. Some people think it's got to do with the grimdark future, but it's actually just sugar-covered fried bread.
And isn't that just, the epitome of where we are in life?
Everything is bread.
Everything's bread.
Yes, I am bread. You are bread. We are all bread. Just wandering our way back to the yeast factory in the pants.
So thanks for listening in last week where I was absent. Sorry, my apologies, my deepest, sincerest apologies. And welcome back to 40K Fanatics, folks, where me and Shane sit here and we chit-chat about the local hobby of Warhammer 40K.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
I am Maximus Decimus Aurelius. Actually, I have been watching this new Roman Empire show. It's pretty great.
For those about to die, is that the one?
No. Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah. I thought you said something else. Yeah, Those About to Die. It's a great show, and I'm watching it like one episode a week. It's pretty good.
Got old Tony Hopps in that.
Yeah, right. Isn't he an amazing actor?
He's really good.
He's really good.
I feel like he's at the stage, though, if he can't play an old man in a movie, he might as well throw himself out a window.
Dude, how old is he anyway?
Like Omar Sharif said. I have no idea. What are we talking about today?
What are we talking about? Well, why don't we start by opening up that bits box and then we can talk about it. No, okay, we got a structure. Let's stick to it.
Open the bits box, then.
By the way, your bits box last week needed a little bit of work.
What are you talking about? My bits box needed work last week. I played a bunch of games.
Oh yeah, no, I meant the sound effects.
Oh yeah, no, we're terrible at that. No, I mean, you know what? The best ability is availability. Don't you know that?
That's fair. Okay, why don't you kick us off there, Shane?
Man, the Corn Lord of Skulls is an elephant only in our memory. I have been eating bite after bite of it, and it is almost done. It's turning out good. I tell you what, the oil wash thing that I did was very scary. Once I got up to the top armor panels and places, it was really scary because a couple of things I found with the oil wash thing, and this is making one out of like the old heavy metal tube oil paints that you get from Hobby Lobby, right? Like artist paint type stuff, and mineral spirits. It takes a lot more paint than you think, because it is very easy to get some stuff that is just hardly pigmented at all. And I mean, it's always going to flow good, but it worked best once it was very goopy.
It's a terrifying process.
Yeah, because I had these lovely red to black volumes painted, and I mean, it went all the way up to fire engine bright red and down to pretty dark, and then I just threw all this dirt on it, because that's the other thing I noticed about this stuff. Once you get these oil paints knocked down to where they'll flow, it's a little gritty, which I think has turned out good because the grits are so tiny. But there was one scary part, which is I got all the crud on, I sponged off and wiped off and did what I wanted to do and got all the gunk kind of sitting where I wanted it to sit. And then it began to dry, and I had these big coffee stain looking things on big white armor panels, and I thought, well, this is going to be hard to fix. But I ignored it because I had a suspicion that it was just the mineral spirits like sort of pooling as they dried, and I thought it could be that is going to dry entirely and disappear.
You're a braver man than I.
It took 2 days,
Oof.
and the splotches were gone with no intervention from me.
Oof.
And it looks really good. So all of the gunk and everything went on really smooth. It looks good. I painted all 16 windows of sloshing blood.
Nice.
Don't know. I mean, look.
How'd the skulls turn out?
The skulls are a bit of a work in progress. So the skulls are interesting. The idea for the listeners with the skulls is I want them to look like they are set in a pool of blood. And
But last time you said that they had turned pink.
yeah, they had turned pink, and that wasn't great. So then I got out the old standby blood for the blood god and just started gooping it all over them. Now they're red, but it looks like blood. And I had the thought that I'll go back and paint every skull white so that they're white with the blood underneath. And then as I looked at it more, I thought, I kind of like it like this. So as it stands presently, they're just red, and it looks good. I don't think I'm going to go white. I'm all the way down to painting the bulldozer front, and then I've got to paint his big heckin' axe, and then he'll be done or nearly done. There may be a pass of like metallic highlights because I've got it so goopy all the way around. I may take and shine it up here and there, or I might not, depending. It's so big that the sort of getting it gunky doesn't necessarily make it look dirty or lazy. Just because the surfaces are so large, they still read as metal, even though they're really dirty.
Man, I've just seen too many horror shows where somebody's put on some of that stuff and then they wait and they try to do the process right, but then they mess up. Then they ruin a whole painted mini.
Okay, so here's one thing.
Scary.
I didn't wait. I didn't wait for any of it to dry. I put on big, goopy bunches of it and then moved it around.
Yeah.
Because I know there's this idea that you put it on, you wait, and you yada yada. And I think that maybe if you're working with, the various enamel things, whatever all the dirty down products are made of, that probably works better. But with these oil washes, like made, air quotes from scratch, I think you shove them around and get them where you want them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know going in that they're mainly going to go down, like they're going to head south. The thing was dripping onto my hand as I was gooping it up, which was scary because, you assume, well, like it's got to be hitting some lower parts as it goes. I did not work top down. I worked bottom and then went up because I wanted maximum experience before I got onto the places that you would actually see. So, I think next week we'll be showing it off, and I'll be looking for a game to run it into the buzzsaw that is New Model Syndrome.
Now, we'll say that new whip of yours that was on the socials, as we're recording this, it is Whip Wednesday, the 24th of July.
So
they look nice.
Yes, it's a couple of Night Hunt guys. It's the Night Hunt Spirit Host. They come in a unit of 3. What they are 3 little ghosties, and they're like wispy dudes. They have faces, and they have a couple of knives, and they're horrible to build. They do not fit together well. And
I remember a lot of gripes from you about those.
Yeah, they were terrible to build just because they don't really connect. You almost just have to stick them together, and whatever your results may vary, because the instructions aren't great on showing you where they're supposed to stick together. But even once you figure that out, they don't really, like, they don't slot in. They're the kind of models that have some dots to guide, like a little dot and divot sort of fitting, but as soon as you put any plastic glue on it, the dot goes away and the divot gets full of gunk. And anyway, I did all 3 of those in one sitting. That was one of those like ghosty blue colors from underneath with the airbrush, and then white ink over the top. All this over straight black primer, and it gave a vaguely bluish aqua ghostly effect. And then it was just a matter of putting them in the graveyard basing scheme that I've got. And the reason I did that is Age of Sigmar 4th edition is out and running, and people are playing it. The new app is out and updated, and I got it, and I discovered that with the Spirit hosts done, I have 1,500 points of Night Hunt ready to go. So
there you go.
They were the last things that I needed to get painted.
Boy, do I dig those bases.
Yeah, they look good. They look very like kind of on the nose.
Like graveyard style.
Yeah, graveyard ghosty boys. I do need to bust out like every single little ghost I've got when it's a number of them and paint all the base rims black and stick some magnets on the bottom to get them all transferable.
Paint challenge?
No, just base rims. Many base rims to paint so that they will look all mwah for a potential Age of Sigmar 4th edition game. It seems that our local community is not really sure on how the new Age of Sigmar is played, and it doesn't seem like anybody seems too keen to learn.
Ooh.
There seems to be a standoff happening where nobody wants to actually try to play just yet until someone says, okay, I've played and I can teach you, which I think is poor of them. But I mean, I suppose I'm a member of the standoff crew as well. My excuse for this, though, is I didn't play any Age of Sigmar in 3rd edition. I've never played any Age of Sigmar.
You've never played Age of Sigmar.
And I do know from YouTube videos and things that it's not a world of difference from original Age of Sigmar. So I'm like, guys, come on. Help me. Somebody try one so that I can see.
Get those reps in.
I don't want to go. I just don't want to learn from scratch. And I certainly don't want to learn from scratch at the game store starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon where we're on a time crunch and I've got to teach somebody.
There you go.
You know? So we'll see. Perhaps next week I'll have a report on some AOS 4th edition.
First official AOS game.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's what I did in the hobby this week.
Over to me. Well, I'm going to say a few words, I guess, about Game Fest. We took part in, me and Austin took part in Games Fest, and we did a whole pod about it last week. Go and check that out because it's a nice little tidbit. Yeah.
So Austin's positions on the various having to dos with conventions was not specifically from a 40K standpoint. You, however, did nothing but 40K.
Yes.
You did the whole 40K GT. You played
100%.
72 straight hours of 40K.
On my feet.
How was that?
That was, it was an experience, I will say that. Last year, I did the whole game experience, went to the whole Game Fest, had fun, got swag, hung out, got some board games, did a lot of fun. Paint competitions. This one, I just came for the 40K tournament to see if there was a difference, and there was a huge difference. I'm not going to be negative about this. I will say that the air and atmosphere was completely different than it was for just the fest itself. I kind of came in with the wrong mindset. I'm not going to lie. I went in like, oh boy, I'm going to meet all my boys. I'm going to have some fun. We're going to have a great time and do this up. Boy, they had guys from out of state. They had guys from deep in state. They had multiple groups that I'd never even seen coming in. And the air was just competitive.
Yeah, everybody was there to work.
Serious. Boy, it was not what I expected.
Did you have any fun?
I had some fun. Yes, I did. There were times when I didn't have fun, but, I went there with the goal, just at least have a little bit of fun, win at least one game. I won at least one game, had a little bit of fun, hung out with some of the boys and talked a bit. And it was just an experience. It was seeing all those people there to do one thing. The competitive edge was a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie. But overall, I think everybody did a great job. Dallas did absolutely 100%. So shout out to Dallas for doing such a freaking awesome job, man.
Yeah, he was TO of the event.
Absolutely.
As he tends to be.
He had Army Painter donate like $1,500 of stuff. Man, it was nuts.
What was your record? It was a 5-game GT, was it not?
Yes, I won one game, lost all the others.
Wow. Yes. Was it a head stomping?
I had 2 games where I really put up the fight, and man, it was just not in the cards. I had one game where I got shut-outed. That was rough.
You got shut out?
Yeah.
0 points?
Top of turn 2, 13 points on the board. And man, Angron and the World Eaters, what can I say? They move across the board and they wreck face. My Stompa had nothing for it.
Huh.
Yeah. So error was mostly on my part. Somebody actually came up and said, "Hey, man, did you know you could do this?" And then it would have changed the whole game. But, it's a learning process. I've never run Titanics. I still enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have played many times, and I've seen you play, especially I've seen you play smaller events. Like, you are not what I would describe as you're not an ideal candidate for super competitive 40K.
Yeah.
In a given match of 40K, you're at a stage where you're still receptive to lessons of your own army. And when the opponent's goal is just to stomp your head in,
yeah,
class is closed.
Yeah.
They're like, buddy, you can put that there if you want to.
But that's what I would have to say about that. It wasn't negative, wasn't positive. It was just different.
Would you play? Because I've not played a 5-round GT because I know that's more than I want.
World leaders.
Would you
3 games against Tyranids?
Yeah. Would you play?
And Astra Militarum.
Would you play a GT again?
I would definitely change my list up. Probably play something a bit more focused and. Probably switch to something, I had more thought into. So,
yeah. See, I have no interest.
Maybe a little bit of that cheese you're always talking about.
Yeah, I have no interest in playing in a GT. Reason being that I'm not going to tune a list to buy some stuff that is going to possibly be competitive that one time, and then by next time, I'll just be having this extra stuff laying around. Also, so that takes winning the whole thing out of the picture. If I'm not going to win the whole thing, I don't actually want to play 3 games of 40K in a row and then come back the next day and play 2 more games of 40K. I'll play 2.
There were a few people that did that.
Yeah. There were some that played the 3 and they were like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it may have been a distance thing, but. Moving away from that, I have been busy in the paint shed, working on a few things. Finally got a few paint session ins now that I have a new paint light. I'm painting 20 Tyranids and Lieutenant Titus for the Space Marine board game for us to try out. A bunch of terrain for us and for a client, and then we'll see what happens after that. Other than that, I really got to organize this paint area.
Yeah, we got to get some games in too. We must christen your paint shed, your hobby shed.
Your new paint map.
Yeah, as there is a whole heckin' game table.
Yeah. Other than that, that's my paint. That's my bits box.
Well, go ahead and shut it. This week on the pod, we were going to talk about top 5 tips of making a gaming space of your own. But that got pushed to the back burner when I think on Monday it was.
Yes.
Warcom released an article advertising the new codex, Agents of the Imperium, because nobody expects the Imperial Inquisition.
No one. That's how they win.
Now, I don't know anything about the Inquisition, and so it's a lore pod.
It's a lore pod.
Teach me of the ways of the Spanish Inquisition.
So, you do not expect the Inquisition. Today we were talking about the Inquisition, the Holy Ordos, all 3 of the main branches, how they started, and a few other things that I just, picked up over the years. So, with these releases, I thought we could go by each box in the factions and, talk a little bit about their characters, talk a little bit about the factions, have some fun with it.
Yeah, and we have to talk about the much maligned new model for that Inquisitor dude who I don't know from Adam.
We will talk about him.
Well, I do have some thoughts about the. I do have thoughts on the. What do we call it? Hullabaloo surrounding that new model. Yeah, there's some hoopla, some hullabaloo.
So, the Inquisition. The Holy Order of the Inquisition. It started back in the day. Horus had done his thing. Isstvan had just happened. And Terra was about to be besieged. Horus wasn't there yet. Just putting that on there. And Horus looks at his best buddy Malcador, the Sigillite. I've talked to you about him a couple times. You know a little bit about him. He is probably the second or third most powerful psyker in the Imperium, and he is a baseline human. Kind of like the happy uncle for all of the Primarchs. And he looks at his buddy Malcador and he goes, I need you to get some stuff together because I'm tired of these demons. Tired of these demons in my walls? Tired of these demons in my attic. I need you to take care of them. So he says, I need you to get a group of people together. I need you to get a crew. Expendable style.
We're going to put the band together.
Yeah. Sends out a Space Marine from the Death Guard to collect a few Space Marines. Sends out Malcador to collect a few people. He comes back with, I think, 4 Lords of Terra, and the Space Marine comes back with a motley crew of Space Marines. And they all form the Grey Knights and the Inquisition to fight the threat of the demon throughout the Imperium.
So that was the first branch of the Inquisition.
Yes, which would eventually become known as the Ordo Malleus, or the Demon Hunters.
I see.
All things demon, they got you. They take them down, they research them, they do anything they can to fight them. Now, it's important, and I will say this first thing off. When you look at an Inquisitor, they either choose 2 paths when they start being an Inquisitor. They are either A, Puritan, or B, a radical. A Puritan is basically your all-around, witch hunter from the old days, Spanish Inquisitor, burn, kill anything that's different. Don't listen to reason. There are no shades of gray. It's only black and it's only white. That is a Puritan. A radical is anyone who thinks differently than that.
They have Inquisitors that... Wait, you're saying those are 2 types of Inquisitors, or those are what Inquisitors think?
Those are the ideologies that an Inquisitor will follow.
Okay. So how can there be radical Inquisitors?
And that's the thing. If you think differently than a Puritan, that makes you a radical.
Okay.
Just any slight difference. And that's basically it. The Inquisitors, to summarize, are sort of the secret police, the detectives of the Imperium. They go in the dark places all throughout the Imperium to fight the threats within and without.
Of communism. I mean, of demons and heresy and
anything, really.
Xenos.
Because apparently any book with an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor has to fight, whatever is in front of them. Anyways, they have unlimited power. They wield their badge, their signet, which is Malcador, the Sigillite's symbol, the eye you see, on a Grey Knight or an Inquisitor. And they do whatever they want. The only people in the entire Imperium who have more power than them are the High Lords of Terra on Terra itself. But, those guys aren't doing much.
Yeah. So, you mentioned that the first Inquisitor also formed the Grey Knights. Now, I was under the impression the Grey Knights were super secret and nobody knows about them.
Yes, except for the Inquisition and every Space Marine captain.
So the
Chapter Master.
Okay. So the Inquisition is its own little, like they're like the CIA.
Yes, the KGB, the CIA. They hide stuff, they fix stuff, they bring things out to the light. It just depends.
Right. And so they have got... Now, I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but
yes.
The Ordo Hereticus...
They've got the major 3 top dogs.
Go ahead.
Malleus, Hereticus, and Xenos.
All right. So the Xenos have got Death Watch guys.
Yes.
And then the Hereticus have the Sisters.
Yes.
So do the Inquisition just have sort of unfettered access to all sorts of Space Marine chapters as they need them?
Well, the thing is, with having unfettered power, they can do whatever they want. They could tell anyone what to do, and that includes Space Marines. Space Marines don't like it, but again, Inquisitors are smart. They're inquisitive. That's their job. They have to go out and use their critical thinking skills. No dude who's like 5'8" is going to walk up to an 8 or 9 foot tall demigod and tell him, you can't go fight that thing. Do what I say because I'm the boss.
because I've already sent the Grey Knights in after that particular thing.
Exactly. So
that's neat.
yeah.
So we talk about every time we talk about the Emperor, we talk about the Psychers and the light. What's the light called? The
Astronomicon.
Yes, the Astronomicon, and how all these messages are always coming in for help on various planets.
Yes.
And many of those messages are not answered in any sort of sensible time frame.
You would be right.
But the Inquisition, if they're knocking around, some stuff gets done.
Yeah, they just show up, flash their badge, anything they want get done. And
wow.
because of the nature of what they do, they could be anyone. They could be anywhere. You could be in a bar. It could be the bartender behind the bar, the dancer on the table, the bouncer at the door, or the guy who's throwing up in the bathroom. And then all of a sudden, you say 2 words to your buddy about heresy, and then that badge gets flashed, and it's playtime's over.
And the whole planet could be annihilated.
Yes, they have unlimited power. Exterminatus gets thrown around a lot.
Wow. Okay, so Horus and Co. founded the first one.
No. Malcador.
Malcador.
Yes.
On order of Horus.
On order of the Emperor.
Okay.
To stop demons because of Horus and everything.
I see. And then how do we end up with the others?
So, let's start off with the Ordo Malleus. They start the Ordo Malleus. Their job, fighting demons. They get help from your boys in the Grey Knights. This is their militant arm because the Grey Knights are super soldier, super psyker primarchs or space marines, keyed up, taught and trained on everything to kill a demon. And the Ordo Malleus researches, fights, and does everything they can to kill and or banish the demon. In the first box, we've got Inquisitor Cotiaz. And Torquemada Cotiaz is a Puritan Inquisitor who is old. He old. Now, as you can imagine, the rejuvenate treatments are freely available to Inquisitors. He is getting so old that they have stopped working.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he's up there. This man is Puritan at heart. His mentor, who trained him to be an Inquisitor, he killed him because he was considering using a chaos crystal to track chaos influence. He crushed it with a hammer like Gimli tried the One Ring in Lord of the Rings, and then he took over, had his boss executed, and then they promoted him to Inquisitor.
They said, "You're the kind of guy we like."
Yeah, he was like he literally pulled out one of those what are they called, the sand hourglasses, a mini hourglass that said, "I got 5 minutes on the clock. I'm going to explain X, Y, and Z why he's a bad guy. Go." And then they were like, "Yeah, you're right. Kill him."
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
The man is of an indomitable will. He runs an entire sector of space by himself, and he uses thousands upon thousands, armies of agents. It is said that on any of these planets, if there's a meeting of 3 people, at least 2 of them are his agents.
Wow.
And it is flourished. He is ridiculous. But because he's getting old, he's looking for any way that he can prolong his life through alien technology, cloning, whatever he can do. Emperor of Palpatine style. But he will not resort to any chaos, no matter the cost.
We're going to have to go fast on these.
Yes, okay. Next one, Ordo Xenos. Founded in the war after the War of the Beast when the Orcs almost destroyed the Imperium and Terra. They founded the Death Watch. Imagine your Puritans were like, "What? We don't need another faction? How dare you say that Xenos are a threat?" And then the radicals were like, "Let's do this." You've got Inquisitors who fight with the militant arm, the Death Watch, which you have so kindly mentioned up.
Yeah, and the Death Watch, they're the guys that have been, for whatever, excised from various Space Marine chapters. Is that right? Or have I got them mixed up with someone?
Yes, well, they get picked by the veterans of different chapters. Essentially, what the Space Marines were supposed to do, different aspects of war coming together to make a Swiss Army knife to fix the problem.
I see.
They have weapons of like acid to kill Tyranids or flamers that especially kill orcs, stuff like that. They use Necron phase swords to fight Necrons, and they're led in this combat patrol box by Kyria Draxus, a radical Inquisitor, who is actually using power armor that is half Eldar, half human, and even wields an Eldar gun.
Okay, so that I'm surprised about, that I guess this is the difference between a Puritan and a radical Inquisitor, right?
Yeah,
so
radical any means.
So there are probably Puritan Xenos Inquisitors that are like, no, not going to be no Xenos tech.
Yep.
We're not going to wear no armor.
Exactly.
We're not going to have any, we're not going to use any Xenos spies. We're just killing all the filthy Xenos.
And her model even has a Xenos bird.
Wow.
Yeah. Great model, but it's kind of one of those situations. Let's make the model, then give her some story later. Kind of thing. Yeah.
So we're going to get new Death Watch models, I guess.
I hope so. They're all firstborn, and it's kind of annoying.
Oh, really?
Really cool models. I will not lie.
That's interesting that they would just...
But all firstborn.
Yeah, bust out some old firstborn.
Yeah.
I guess it's a box of firstborn and upgrade sprues.
Yeah, and you can get some second. You can get some Primaris, but like they're just like basic units. But they've got like kill teams and all these other characters of Death Watch.
Very strange.
Yeah,
very strange.
Final faction. We got the.
This is my favorite one.
The Ordo Hereticus. The Ordo Hereticus was founded during the Age of Apostasy when a space pope decided to rule the Imperium for a little while and went a little too heavy-handed.
Oh, dear.
Yes, and then they made a new rule. The church can no longer have a militant arm, so he was like, or men under arms. So he was like, Sisters of Battle.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
He found them. He recruited them. They are zealots to a T.
They are?
Yes, they will kill, maim, burn the mutant, the heretic, and the witch wherever it can be found. None of them have fallen to chaos. They are, without a doubt, the diehard zealots of the Imperium, and they will not stop until anything that is deemed wrong by them is destroyed.
Yeah, and they're a little bit of a catch-all, because it can be demon, it can be Xenos. They don't care. It can just be regular heresy.
Anything heretical.
Yeah. Just, I don't know about this Imperium thing. It's like, well, you are about to get it.
Burn.
Now, they're the ones being led by the new gold guy, right?
No gold lady. No, that's Kotias. He is in the Malleus.
Okay, we'll have to circle back to him because the internet's up in arms about that model.
Yes.
For reasons that I cannot stand. So who's running the...
Inquisitor Greyfax. And
I've heard of Inquisitor
Puritan
Greyfax.
Inquisitor with a dope crossbow bolter and a witch hunter's hat. She was a Puritan Inquisitor that went missing a long time ago because apparently Trazyn the Infinite, the Necron, who is likes to collect things, just had her in a Pokeball. Then when your boy Abaddon attacked Cadia, he threw her out there and said, "Go fight." So, and she couldn't, when she saw Saint Celestine, her jaw dropped because she could not believe the disgusting display that the Sisters of Battle and the Ordo Hereticus is tolerating.
Wow.
Because to her, any shade of gray is wrong.
Oh, so granting Celestine sainthood is too far?
Oh, she's a creature of the warp, isn't she?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know anything about Saint Celestine.
She comes from the warp. She resurrects. Yeah.
Wow.
She's a being of the warp, man.
Future lore pod.
Exactly.
Saint Celestine.
So Greyfax, and it's funny because there's like 3 more books where she just goes on adventures with Saint Celestine, and Celestine's like, "We both serve the Emperor. Let's do this. Let's fight back to back." And she's like, "I hate you." Buddy comedy.
Yeah. Question: You keep mentioning witch hunters.
Yes.
I didn't know we had witches.
Well, what do you think a psyker is?
Yeah, but when it's guys in robes on Terra, it's a good thing. When it's somebody out in the woods doing minor psychic shenanigans, it's
tripping on mushrooms.
It's everybody dies.
Exactly. If you were an unsanctioned psyker, you either go on the black ships or you die.
Somebody, if we were on video, someone would need to put a little rainbow above my hands right now and say, The good guys.
Yeah, and that is the Ordo Hereticus and Lady Fairfax, or Greyfax.
I like that.
So we're going to circle back to Cotiaz because there's been a lot of discussion about his model, hasn't there been, Shane?
There has. Now, describe to the people Mr. Cotiaz as you know him.
Cotiaz is I would call him a short king. I don't know. He's just this really cool, bald old man with a thin, now he's not bald. I guess he's got a thinning hairline.
Here's one of the
ornate golden armor with thick legs.
All right, so question. Is he a Space Marine?
He is not.
Okay, so he's just wearing big chunky power armor because he found a set of chunky power armor.
Yep, it's supposed to be an artificer, so it's like specially high quality made.
Okay. He's the one that has the bird that you're talking about.
Oh, yes.
Right. So it's a two-headed
Psy bird.
Yes, it's a two-headed bird, which looks like the
PSY bird.
Yeah. And it's got two heads, which makes it look just like the
Aquila.
The Aquila, which I thought is a nice touch. Now, he's got two models now. He's got an old crunchy model,
which I love,
which everybody seems to love. He's got a new model where the bird is off by itself.
Token.
What is your problem with this new model?
Well, my problem with the new model, the bird's just, off by itself doing its own thing. I like it when he
looking awesome.
And he does look awesome. I loved him in the first model where he was on that dude's arm like a falconeer. It was really dope. The new one, it could be cool. It could be, but I don't know. I just rather them be the same model.
I'm here for token models. Continue.
Now, there's going to be a lot of kit bashing, a lot of cool kit badges, and I can't wait to see it.
Let's continue with Cotiaz himself. What do you not like about him?
I don't think I don't like him. He's just not as, just not as interesting.
That's so crazy to me. Okay,
it's weird, right? He looks so plain compared to his old model.
Couple of things. One, I don't know this guy from anybody, but I saw the model. I thought, that guy's awesome. Look at that big bird. That's so cool. Then I saw the old model. I thought, that's fine. And then I get on the internet, and they're so mad that apparently Inquisitors gather up a lot of little stuff. They've got a lot of little tchotchkes that they carry on their person, right? Oh, yeah. Traditionally. And I see that on the old model, he's got some bandage thing on his leg, and he's got some extra little nonsense.
A book.
Yeah. In the new model, he's got a little bit less of that. He does have a big chunky belt. He's got his big heckin' hammer. Yeah. All right. On the new model. Now, I believe that the 40K community is of two minds lately, and they are in conflict. On one hand, the painters, and I'm going to go ahead and start calling myself a painter because I'm having more and more fun painting.
Oh, he doesn't have a loincloth.
As this goes. Yeah. Because he's got a big heckin' cape.
That could be it.
My point is, the community seems to be of two minds. The painters are like, could you please just give us some volumes to paint? And then other people, and I don't understand what these people are doing, are like, I want more little bits to paint. Looking at you, Cities of Sigmar, where everybody's just covered in junk. Like, how many pouches, how many bits of chainmail, how many different pieces of cloth, how much little gubbins
fiddly
are you?
Bits.
Yeah, how many fiddly bits are you all trying to paint? Because this new version, I think, is great. Nothing's stopping you from having the old version, if that's what you like. The new version, I think, is a more fun painting experience, especially when they come out with these models with a ton of little crap on them. There's a section of the community that's like, hey, could we please have some big flowy capes, some solid armor panels that we can do, that we can twerk on, right?
Yeah.
And so they give you that, and then everybody's up in arms that it's not busy enough. Crazy talk. I submit to you another point. Someone brought to my attention, and he's like, I can't believe he has hair.
That is...
Now, I am increasingly, the more I learn about...
I mean, you just got a haircut yourself.
Yeah. The more I learn about 40K, lore, the more I am receptive to a little bit of mainstream popularization.
How so?
I said it last week, and I'll say it again. It could be that the sensibilities of nerds from England in the 80s are not maybe the most nuanced, diverse, complete, holistic sort of thoughts and ideas.
They're not with it. They're not hip.
I'm just like, how many skinheads can one IP withstand? They gave this guy a little bit of hair, and people are like, I can't believe he's got hair. I'm like, how many of these dudes are you going to describe to me as being bald and having porcelain white skin? At what point? I mean, and you, Casey, you know me. I'm as far from the woke folk as you can get.
Yeah.
But come on, man. Like at some point, I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Not again. But here's my theory. What we're getting in the new model, we're getting a few years younger version of our boy. That's why he's got some hair. That's why he doesn't have quite as much crap on him. That's why he's got a literal bandage on his leg in the original model. That leg on the new one, pristine, ready to get some non-metallic metal paint job.
A lot of people are saying that he looks like he has a diaper on.
Hey, so do all your Space Marines without dick towels.
There you go.
You know, I think he looks good. I think it's good that not. Let me back up. In an era where these things are being sculpted wholly on computers, where they are a skeleton that can be posed however you want, and then, you know, what I'm saying is, when they go to make a new Space Marine sculpt, they go grab a grenade out of their bunch of files and just stick it on. And then they're like, pistol holster, stick it on. Power pack, stick it on. Cape, that one, wave it around a little bit. We're done. Hands, stick it on. Bolter, stick it on. It's very easy in this day and age for the model makers to go crazy with this stuff. And I like when they don't.
Okay.
Age of Sigmar has a lot of these models.
A little less is more action.
Yeah, a little less is more. A little more attention paid to the pose, to the composition of the whole thing, to the fact that our brushes can only be so small, and our level of give a damn on some brown leather string holding up a water skin is only going to be so high.
Yeah.
And so I like it when they're like, you know what this guy's got? What's he got? Cape and a big belt. Thank you. Guy with cape and big belt. Give me 5. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I like the old model, but you know, I am a fan of metal minis. And that his old model looks like that was back around when they were still doing metal minis. So I don't know what it is about metal minis, but they just have a certain character to them that I just really like of those old ones.
Yeah, and you know, again, I don't think by liking the new one, you are in any way besmirching the good name of the old one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm still gonna like the new one. I don't hate it, like some people do.
Yeah, and my theorizing that he's actually a much younger version of the old one, because he's literally a younger version of the old one.
Ooh, what if like he's a replacement or something?
I mean, I just think that look, this Saturday I'm participating in a Marvel Crisis Protocol tournament, and I'm going to be bringing some X-Men. There are 4 Wolverines, I think, because they've got a couple new ones coming out.
There you go.
And nobody thinks anything of it. You have like 90s cartoon Wolverine, you got Wolverine out of the other thing, and you got, you know, Wolverine from space
X-Force
or whatever. Yeah. And that's perfectly fine.
Captain Canada.
Yeah. Well, you got Wolverine in costume, you got Wolverine in leather jacket.
There you go. Old man Logan over there.
Yeah, and everybody's fine with that. And what I'm saying is, try not get up in arms that they ruined Codius. They didn't.
I didn't even know people were mad about that. That's wow.
It's out there. It's out there. I tagged you in some stuff on X. Go on X
You
and
did say
check
that.
out.
I saw that.
Go on X and check out 40K Fanatics, where you can see me and Casey mixing it up with the wider community at large. But that's all the time we've got. We need to do our exclusive Space Marine segment. I think we might have skipped it last week.
Okay, I've got a Space Marine segment.
What you got?
Did you know
Probably
that
not.
when you go into the Death Watch, you are actually allowed to forsake your chapter and just take on the role of a Black Shield and stay with the Death Watch?
Yeah, because there's like a path back with the Death Watch, right?
Yeah, you are a veteran of the Death Watch, and then you do your term of service, you go back. But you can choose to stay.
Unless you get killed by a orc horde beforehand.
Wow.
I've been Shane, that's Casey.
Yeah, stay fanatical, folks.